Before we ask if ancient humans loved dogs, let's ask a colder question. Why did they even let them live? Picture the most terrifying predator that has ever walked this earth. Hungry, armed, paranoid. Clever enough to set traps, and quick enough to kill almost anything it didn't trust. That animal is us. Now picture a different hunter, 4 legs. Sharp teeth, a killer in its own right. Choosing to step closer to that lethal beast than almost any other beast ever has. That's the real mystery. Forget about how canines became adorable. We are exploring how they became tolerated. Because an early dog did not survive on some cozy campfire legend. It survived under an invisible contract. Every single day, it faced a deadly test around human camps. Don't be a threat. Don't be useless weight. And never give our ancestors a reason to regret letting you near. Break any single one of those terms, and the fire. The meat and the shelter all belong to someone else. If you prefer the raw mechanics of natural selection over the fairy tales we share with each other, you're in the right place. I'm Professor Primal. We don't tell the Disney version of nature here, so hit subscribe. And let's examine the most fundamental rule of survival. Before earning belly rubs, you have to avoid getting killed. To an ancient hunter, a wolf drifting near the camp was just a question mark. Was it a thief eyeing their meals? A threat to their kids? Or maybe a built-in alarm system? A scavenger eating all the scraps? And a menace you could chase away with rocks if things went wrong? The ancient canine's entire life started inside that suspicion. And surviving. There required strategy, not magic. Any beast that approached too hot and aggressive was dealt with immediately. And an animal too terrified to approach, starving at the edges, missing every chance. But the ones who could read the situation, who knew exactly how close was close enough and when to slip back into darkness, those were the creatures that found a loophole. That ancient dog wasn't auditioning to be a best friend. It was bargaining for a security clearance. And it bought its way inside with the only currency the Ice Age cared about, pure calories. Wherever early humans traveled, they left a trail, right behind them. Bones, scraps, warm ashes, rich fat marrow and shredded hide. To a starving scavenger, a human camp was a chaotic, high-calorie gold mine glowing, brightly in the dark. But food near humans was never free. To eat near us, these animals had to become masters of perfect timing, knowing when to slip close, who to approach and who to avoid, and when to back off a step. Right before a cold glare turned into a thrown rock. Survival meant figuring out which human was safe and which was pure trouble. Reading the mood of the entire group, the tension before a fight, the calm that follows a heavy meal, and knowing that a wrong move on the wrong day could cost it everything. Ever wonder what that animal was? Actually standing in the smell of smoke and blood, bones cracked open in the ashes, drying meat, buzzing flies, cold mud and dust in the biting cold, harsh voices rising and falling, hands that could toss a scrap or swing a heavy weapon. To survive in that harsh environment, this dog wasn't running on affection. It was relying on memory, on patterns, on a laser-focused read of distance, risk, and hunger. And here is that evolutionary superpower we almost always underestimate. Their best weapon might not have been hunting, biting, or running. It was simply watching us closely. To live this close to humans, a prehistoric dog had to become a master at reading one highly unpredictable species. Every tiny shoulder twitch, every shift in voice tone, every shift in the camp's daily rhythm was pure data. These animals memorized what anger looked like, seconds before a fist clenched, and saw an opportunity, a heartbeat, before a hand reached for a tool. Ever notice how your dog knows you're about to walk out before you've even reached for your keys? That isn't telepathy. It's just an animal reading a physical routine they have watched 1,000 times. And that talent for tracking our movements goes back far further than any house, leash, or cozy couch. We didn't start with guard dogs or hunting sidekicks. Nature doesn't hand out job descriptions. In some places over time, they developed highly practical behaviors. One sharp bark could buy a family a few precious seconds of warning. Sharp nose could track a wounded animal or spot a trail we missed entirely. In some cultures and eras, a restless animal might sense a predator or stranger approaching the edge of the firelight before anyone else even realized it by cleaning up rotting leftovers. They even kept dangerous, larger scavengers from creeping into the campsite at night. Not every dog did all of these things, but the ones who made life just a tiny bit less lethal were the ones humans had a clear reason to tolerate. Long before loyalty became a word, humans admired it was just basic behavior that kept a wild animal near the food and away from those flying stones. Forget that cozy, sanitized version of this history. True survival is never pretty. Not every ancient pup got to curl up near a warm fire. Many lived loose, and half wild at the freezing borders of camps. Part scavenger and part neighbor. Some were forced into hard labor. Others starved, suffered nasty injuries, or were chased off with sharp rocks. In some eras and areas, they were bred strictly for their pelts, or even ended up as an emergency family meal. To understand that pet on your rug today, we have to trace the rough path that got them here. This wasn't some clean, perfect partnership. It was messy, built on mutual exploitation. Tense negotiation between a hand that tosses a scrap and teeth that can rip your throat. Yet, over thousands of years, things slowly shifted. Repeat that same daily transaction enough times and a new pattern forms. We stop immediately reaching for a weapon, and the dog stops showing its teeth. Once that constant threat fades, the physical gap between us shrinks. An animal showing up at the same tree, line every dawn becomes a familiar shadow in the dust. You start to recognize one another. This rhythm does not need love. It just requires both sides to see they will survive much better together than on their own. Scanning the physical evidence. The story gets even more complicated. Ancient DNA does not offer one neat starting point. Instead, it draws a messy map of multiple domestications. And scientists still argue about the exact timeline and location. Yet the dirt tells us a different story. In some prehistoric inside ancient graves, dogs were buried with genuine intent, their bones carefully arranged, alongside human possessions. This suggests that in some camps, specific animals were treasured enough to be grieved. Another clue lies in how their brains changed. In behavioral studies, if a human points toward a hidden treat, a young puppy will easily follow the direction of that finger to find the snack. But try the same with a wolf pup, and it will usually just stare at your hand itself or ignore the gesture entirely. Now, this doesn't mean early dogs could read our minds. It means they became incredibly tuned to our body language. The pressure of living near us rewarded the animals that paid the closest attention to our movements. Look at that ancient contract for a second and tell me what you think bought the dog its place near us first. Trust, usefulness, fear, or affection. Drop a comment below, because that is where this story gets chaotic. Now bring that ancient contract under a roof. Fast forward to the dog sleeping on your living room floor, food in a bowl and a cozy place to sleep. The modern dog has it easier than any animal in history. Yet, watch yours closely, and you'll see that old baseline has never fully disappeared. It still studies your mood, reads your routine, and notices the second that routine breaks. It senses the tension in the room before a voice is ever raised. It follows you from room to room, guarding its own patch of floor, alerting you to every sound at the door. It manages its distance, staying close, then drifting away, then returning. It still hunts for crumbs under the table. And they crave total predictability. Same walk, same time, same exact people. When the house goes completely quiet and empty, some dread wakes up. Some ancient part of their brain still remembers that being left alone once meant something far worse than just boredom. Part of your dog's mind is still surviving in a very dangerous world. Of course, let's not overstate things. Not every single odd quirk they have came marching straight out of the Stone Age, but that core drive, the constant observation, decoding our tiny signals, that closeness kept just close enough. That thread goes back much further than we can easily see. Why did early humans let dogs survive? We did not keep them around because our ancestors were soft or gentle by nature, or because wild wolves were loyal from day one. The real story is far colder than any fairy tale. The ancient wolves that survived were those that read our body language best. And the humans who spared them were those who saw these wild beasts could offer a vital edge. Through countless freezing nights and shared work, the old contract slowly grew. The lines between helper and best friend began to blur. The dog sleeping near you right now is the result of a harsh, ancient deal. The campfires, the giant mammoths, and the primitive spears are long gone. But that contract is honored every single day by a creature that had to earn its place by our side. Take a look at your floor. Are you seeing a pet or a masterclass in evolutionary survival? Drop a comment below. And hit that like button if this changed how you view the furry friend on your rug tonight. If you want to keep uncovering these strange animal behaviors we have made too cute to understand, guess what? There is another video waiting for you right on the screen. I am Professor Primal. Stay sharp.